Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today for another u-blox webinar. My name is Mandy and I will be your moderator this afternoon. Next slide please, Bernd. So today's topic is all about exploring the possibilities of u-blox positioning device configuration with uCenter 2. So in today's webinar, we'll be covering an array of topics, including an overview of uCenter 2 and the difference between uCenter 2 and uCenter 1, an introduction of the u-blox M10 platform and its target use cases. Jarbin will be doing a live demo of use case specific device configuration. And of course, if you have any questions throughout, feel free to leave them in the questions section of your control panel. Next slide, please, Bernd. So just a bit of housekeeping, if this is your first time here, this webinar is being recorded and will be sent to you automatically. You can ask your questions as seen to the right, and if we don't get around to answering your questions, we'll be sure to get in touch. If you would like a copy of the presentation, please email us at webinar@u-blox.com. So let me introduce you to our speakers today. Meet Jarbin Sultana, a positioning application engineer at u-blox. Her primary responsibilities include providing second-level technical assistance to customers, as well as being a member of the product development team for consumer and industrial positioning. Jarbin also works with the uCenter 2 development team, managing software updates and deliveries. Our next speaker is Bernd Heidmann, the product manager for the M10 technology platform and module series. He's also a member of the positioning product strategy team at u-blox. Over to you, Bernd.
Thank you, Mandy, and welcome everyone to this session. And now we start off with discussing about what is uCenter 2. So uCenter is a highly intuitive software for GNSS performance evaluation. It's fully compatible with u-blox leading positioning technologies. It offers quick product configuration for the key use cases. Also, it's flexible, has a flexible user interface with personalized workspaces. You can have powerful logging functionality for efficient developing support. And also it allows easy evaluation of u-blox GNSS location services. Now, uCenter works on a Windows PC. You can connect an evaluation kit using the UART or USB port. The software can help to configure your attached u-blox GNSS product very easily. As u-blox GNSS products support a wide range of different use cases, uCenter help you to find the right settings for your use case. In this webinar, we learn how this works. There are some topics we will not cover today in this webinar. First one is uCenter also supports you in evaluating the performance of u-blox GNSS products. It could mean, for example, recording a track and build statistics about the position accuracy over track. The second one is, beside this, maybe you are interested in try out u-blox GNSS related services. Here, uCenter helps you to configure them for your selected product, and you could see the impact on your product using these services. So this we will not cover today. Now let's have a closer look at the differences between these both versions of uCenter. There is uCenter, which you see on the left-hand side, a picture of it, and uCenter 2. uCenter is the legacy product. We developed it over several years. It comes with lots of features and different views. Yeah, as you can see it on the left-hand side. uCenter 2 is quite new. We launched it in September 2021. And since then, we released a few updates to add more features. And now here I go a little bit through the differences and I compare these two software products in more detail. uCenter supports u-blox M8, M9, and F9 and earlier products. u-blox 2 today supports the most recent product u-blox M10. Upcoming product platforms will only be supported by u-blox 2. The way to do product configurations on messages level changed with the introduction of u-blox M9 product. Therefore, for u-blox M9 and u-blox F9 today, u-center shall be used, but we plan to support these products in u-center 2 somewhere in 2023. But u-center will still be maintained for u-blox M8 support. u-center and u-center 2 both support the so-called advanced configuration. u-center 2 provides some list of applied changes in a kind of shopping cart. This you will see later in the session how it looks like. With this, the changes to the default configuration of the product are much more visible than with the legacy u-center. The content of the shopping cart can be saved to a file and shared with others. This makes it much easier to edit, compare, and share with different configurations. Evaluation of GNSS related services are supported by both products, but u-center 2 is not yet prepared to support the high precision GNSS related correction service. This is called point perfect and is there to achieve centimeter accuracy. Also, this will come later in 2023. The cloud locate service to save up to 90% of power using u-blox M10 products for asset tracker use cases will come soon and is only supported on u-center 2. Also, an important feature of the software is to take a log file when running a field trial. All the evaluation work can be done later with u-center being back in the office. u-center 2 adds more logging functionality. For example, beside timeline related, it also allows message related browsing through the log file. It supports the same file format, so older log files taken from u-center can be played back in u-center 2 as well. u-center 2 offers context-related help for better understanding of messages with no need of reading the protocol specification or any manual. It is also more flexible, organizing workspaces, and comes with a notification for a software update. So a software update can be easily downloaded with one click from the tool. And also to mention, u-center is available from u-blox.com. You can download it for free. And also if you visit u-blox.com/u-center, you can find other useful information like the user guide for both versions. And now please help to understand if you already use u-center or u-center 2, and for this we prepared a poll.
Yes, so here's our first poll. And it should be on your screens now. So it'd be great to know if you're already using u-center, u-center 2, both, or none at all. Please select the answer that applies to you. I'll give you guys a couple minutes. Okay, so I can see the answers coming in. A lot of you saying yes, you use the u-center. Some saying yes, some saying yes, you use both. Okay, I'm going to close the poll now. And let's share these answers. So 50% of you said yes, you use u-center. Only 4% said yes, you use u-center 2. and 8% said, yes, I use both variants of uCenter, and 38% of you say, no, I currently don't use uCenter. Interesting.
Interesting results. Okay, thank you, Mandy, and thanks to all of you for sharing your opinion here and how you use uCenter and uCenter 2. So majority uses still uCenter, and yeah, in the next section we will introduce also the new software to use. So you will see something similar to uCenter, but also some new aspects which we brought in, and I just highlighted in the previous slides about uCenter 2. So thanks for your input, and let's go on introducing u-blox M10, because u-blox M10 is the platform which is supported by uCenter 2, and also u-blox M10 can help you to be configured in the use cases we discussed today. So u-blox M10 is an ultra low power GNSS receiver for small sized, high performance asset tracking and wearable devices. And if we look at the key highlights of this product platform, it delivers below 15 milliwatts of power consumption without compromising GNSS performance. Also, it offers highly integrated solutions optimized for size constrained devices like modules which have only a size of 4.5 by 4.5 millimeters. Also, you can have maximum position availability with concurrent reception of up to 4 GNSS constellations. It offers proven excellent performance even with small antennas, and it has advanced spoofing and jamming detection. Now, this platform can be used for several use cases, and here I bring up a few use cases. There might be your use cases, maybe there are also other use cases you have which are not listed here, but for today we focus on these three. So how do they differ if we look at the GNSS configuration? What are the options to save power? In all these use cases, devices run from a battery. If we start from the left, the car tracker on the left needs a few updates per second, which means continuous operation for the GNSS. Therefore, really no power saving is available here. The expected dynamics for a car is fast velocity in the horizontal layer, but vertical acceleration is not really expected. If the GNSS device would know about these constraints, it could do sanity checks and probably optimize the performance. Going more to the right, the sports watch may need a position update every few seconds. Here we can take advantage of the cyclic power save mode. It gives you around 20 to 50% of power savings, depending on the settings. Dynamics are different to the car. The arm swing will create some acceleration in all directions, but the expected speed is much lower than for the car. Similar to the sports watch is the people tracker, or could be also animal tracker, livestock tracker. And people, pet, or livestock trackers needs to update its position probably every few minutes. And here the on-off mode is the right choice. The battery is bigger than for the sports watch, but it should also last longer. And of course, no arm swing is expected here. As you see, different use cases require different GNSS settings. We will now show you in the next section how you can use uCenter 2 to get a good starting point for your use case specific product configuration. But before I hand over to Mechabin, I ask you another question.
Okay, so I'm going to launch the second poll. So if you answered yes to already using U-Center or U-Center 2, let us know what you use it mostly for. Do you use it for device configuration, performance evaluation, log file analysis? Give you a couple of seconds. Amazing, thank you very much. I'm going to close the poll now. And let's look at the results. So we have 47% said they use U-Center or U-Center 2 for device configuration, 32% for performance evaluation, and 21% for log file analysis.
Interesting results. So yeah, I think previously we asked if you use U-Center, and still quite significant amount of people didn't use U-Center before. But if we look at the device configuration here, and this is the topic for today, I see that almost half of you are interested in this topic. So I'm happy to hand over to Matchabin.
Thank you, Bernd. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Then I'll start sharing my screen. Let me know if you can see the U-Center 2 application.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, hello everyone, Matchabin here. Today I will show you the U-Center 2 application and the way we can configure the receiver easily. And also I'll start with all the basic functionalities we have added here to improve the user experience than the U-Center that was used for last 20 years. So here I have opened the latest version of U-Center 2 that has been released recently, that you can download from the U-Center webpage that Bernd mentioned. And here I can see the version number. And if I introduce the UI first to you, on the right hand side, you can see we can log in with our credential. And then we can log out anytime. And then from the settings menu, I can see the preferences. Here I can save all the preferred options I want to keep saving for all the times I am opening the application. So I enable the auto-boarding feature for me, so it will be enabled. I can also disable that. And then I can also save the Assist Now offline server and the token information for all the time I will start using the Assist Now offline feature. And there from the help menu, we can see we can get the technical support portal information for the U-Center 2. We can also access to the U-Center user guide. It's the online user guide, the first time ever u-blox online user guide, which will take you through the detailed guideline of the U-Center 2. And then you can have the user feedback form where you can provide your feedback directly to the R&D. And you can also find the About U-Center 2, where it is also including the license information and also the release note of this release. And then on the left-hand side, we have the Add View, this plus icon. From here, we can add any view during the evaluation of my receiver, and then I can collapse that at any time. And then we have the devices icon. If I click here, I have this devices panel open. From here, I can add a device or remove a device, see the device information, and I can also have the device configuration. And from here, we have the tools and services icon that gathered all the tools that we have and services. And from here in the workspace, we have the workspace information. This should be the first initial step we set up for our application, because here it is important to set up my views and preferred configuration items that I would want to save for the future evaluation as well. For example, I can create a workspace where I can gather all the views and necessary tools and everything needed for my log player evaluation. And I can create another workspace where I would want to use different views which are related for a different evaluation purposes, for example, evaluating a EVK. And here we have the preset workspaces already provided for the first-time user. Explorer Kit. Here we have already some default views added to start with. Here you can see we have satellite position view, map view, and satellite signal view added. And also in the console tab, we have added console view, which is packet view, packet console view, and the binary console view added. And then here from this button, I can create a new workspace. If I click that button, and then I want to create my own workspace before I start to evaluate any u-blox receiver or start experimenting a log file in this uCenter 2. Then I can provide a name, and I can create a workspace from scratch, completely empty, and then I can add views on top of that. Or I can use a preset workspace, which is my Explorer Kit workspace, or I have some other saved workspaces to copy the views that I have there, and then I can add on top of that. So if I want to create on top of the Explorer Kit workspace, my test one, and then I see this new workspace has been added. And here I can start adding my other views that I want, and I can always drag and drop and rearrange my views as I want. And then every time I do some changes in my workspace, I can see it is asking for me for saving the workspace, so I can save it anytime. And we also have a possibility to add more tabs. We can rename the tab. We can rearrange the tabs, and we can always delete some tab. So this is the basic workspace feature. This is really helpful for me. Every time I do not need to start from scratch, empty screen of the application, I will have my desired views and everything needed for my evaluation. I just connect to receiver and start evaluating. And here I will start adding a device. Here, if I come to the left-hand side panel, I see the devices icon, and here it says I do not have any device connected now. So if I start adding a device, I have now connected to a evaluation kit M101, which is generation 10 standard precision evaluation kit with firmware version SPG 5.10. So it will show all the strings of the COM port as well. So whatever is needed for my purpose. So if I connect to the eWord, that is going to be the interface for my application, and I have the autoboarding enabled, and the device is added. If I click that, that will open up the device info where I can see the details information of the hardware firmware. The default baud rate of this device is 38,400 baud. And I have also some quick button for restart operations like hot start, cold start, and some configuration actions. I also have the device configuration button here that I will show at the end of the demo. And then I have saved my own workspace with all the desired views that I will show today. So I can just click on this webinar workspace, and then I have everything. As I have the receiver now connected, I see I am starting to get the satellite signals, and I have a rooftop antenna connected to my device. So if I start with the views now, we have one location view, which is this map view. This is by default not activated to reduce the map polling number, but we used this time the map box application so that we can offer this map view for all the customers. Previously, it wasn't possible. It was only for R&D. Now it's available for everyone. And then this map box is used to give the opportunity to customer to see their location. So we have the basic information here. I can see I'm here in Espoo, Finland. I can see my location from here. And then we have two satellite views. One is the satellite position view, and another one is the satellite signal view. And in the satellite position view, this displays the position of satellites by hovering over any satellite in constellation. I can see the position and the signal to noise ratio. And then from these legends, I can disable or enable any satellite constellation. And here in the satellite signal view, it's the same satellite signal that is shown in a group of different colors. So here we can see all the satellite constellations I have visible in my receiver from my location, and here it is showing the signal to noise ratio in dB hertz unit. And here I can also disable this button to hide all the satellite constellations that were not used in my navigation solution. So this satellite position view will help me to see if I am blocked by some high or tall building. So some satellite constellation are not visible to me. So if I'm facing some difficulties to get a time to first fix, or my navigation solution is not expected, then from this satellite position view, I can see if I'm blocking some satellites available in the sky. And then we have 5 information and statistics view. Here we have the data view, and that data view displays various important values used for GNSS navigation, like this time to first fix. Now here in all the views, we have added this button. By clicking that button, it will enable in the background all the necessary messages that are needed to show here the information. For example, here I can see the time to first fix, which is 0.754 seconds, and all the other information. Then I have the message view. Message view captures the latest received instance of each message known by the device that I have connected now. It can be used to capture the contents for the latest messages received, or I can also enable or disable any messages in my currently connected receiver from this message view. Here I can see we have the anemia protocol messages coming out of my receiver by default. And I also see we have the u-blox protocol messages here. If I open up this tree of the u-blox messages, I can see all the u-blox messages available by extending each item here. If I'm extending the nav and then go to the PVT, and I can see these items showing up here. This icon, if I click on that, that will open up a documentation window, which is a very good feature added in uCenter 2 to show the protocol spec information of this message, nav PVT. This nav PVT provides the navigation position velocity time solution to from the receiver, and from here I can see the description of all the items or fields of this message that I can see here, and then that will make it easy to investigate further without opening a PDF version of the protocol spec, which is available in the website to download. And then I can see also from the right hand side of this message, there is the kebab menu. If I click on that, I see the options to pull the message, which will pull the message once. And then I can enable the message to make it instantaneous. So I will get 1 update per second. I can also disable the message if I see I'm receiving too much messages from my receiver. And whenever I enable any message, that will be also visible in my all the other console views. And if I'm recording a log file, those messages will be recorded in that file as well. From here, I can clear the message and then go to the other messages. Because I have enabled the message, so I'm getting the instantaneous updates. And from here, I can see the hex string, and I can copy the hex string to be investigated further. And then we have the console view. We have 3 different versions of console view. In this uCenter 2, we have gathered them together in one console view. So if I open any one console view and then I see this drop-down menu, from this drop-down menu, I can see 3 different versions: packet console, binary console, and text console. I have opened each of them here, binary console and text console. The packet console is the default view, and in the packet console displays each message name that is coming out of my receiver side and a short description of the message. In binary console, it displays each message in hex format. And in the text console, it displays the anemia and u-blox messages in text format if I get any message from my receiver as a text format. And here I can log the flow and release the flow anytime. And the very good implementation has been done is that message inspector, which will show the details of any message I want to investigate further. I can pause the flow or click anytime on top of any message to get the details of every fields in this message inspector. I can always clean that and also clear this message inspector. The same idea is applied to all the console views and packet, binary, and the text consoles. And from here, we have the copy icon to be able to copy the hex string or any other message information to investigate in some other tool. And then we have the table view. In the table view, we can see we have the first drop-down menu. Here, all the u-blox messages are available. I can also filter any messages from here. By the way, this filtering message is also possible from all the console views and the message view. And then whichever message I have selected in the first drop-down menu, all the fields available for this message will be gathered in the second drop-down menu. And from here, I can choose any item or field that I want to add in this table. I have added the item already, and all the possible or needed information if I want to investigate or see and check the performance of my receiver. And the very good important message is that in this table view, this can be a very powerful view to get a data set to explore in other tools for post-processing the data set as a .csv file format with this export button. So whenever I have gathered some information with my desired fields, I can export that information to post-process or draw some graph somewhere else. And then we have the chart view. Here, the same concept as table view. We have the first drop-down menu for all the u-blox messages, and whichever message I select here, I see the other fields, all the possible fields of that message is gathered in the second drop-down menu, and I can choose any message from here. and then set as x-axis or y-axis, and then I can see the nice graph drawn for those parameters. For example, here I have chosen ITAU. This is the GPS time of week information in the x-axis. These are the milliseconds starting from the Sunday midnight it restarts. So this much milliseconds has been passed since then today now. And then from here I can see the y-axis. I have chosen nav PVT height information in millisecond as well, and millimeter as well. And then here I can see I'm in the 5th floor, and my position here is drifting between the 42.7 meter to something like 46.8 meter. And this way we can easily see the drifts of the position. Anytime we can check any messages or any different other parameters or elements of this message, and can draw this graph. We can easily zoom in and out to specifically focus on some area of the chart to see the points properly to investigate further. These were all the views we have in uCenter 2. And then we have the tools from this icon. Here we have the Assist Now Offline tool. As Barn said, we'll not describe in details today, but this is u-blox proprietary service tool to reduce the time to first fix and power consumption of receiver. It also provides the quality of the time to first fix. And there we have the log player. Here we have the possibility to record a log file in uCenter 2 as .uc2 format, and we can also convert uCenter version of .ubx log file to convert at .uc2 to be able to evaluate in uCenter 2 and make use of nice features. And then we can also play the log file here. We have convert log to KML tool, which will convert a .uc2 log file to KML file to be imported in applications like Google Earth to investigate further and have a better visibility of my environment. Then I will go to the device configuration. Device configuration button is available from here, or if I extend, then also is available here. This is completely a detachable window. We can move this window to any other monitor if I have to investigate also the other views if I want to enable or disable some messages. And here, if I start with the quick configuration, this includes some quick configuration items like configuration, constellation configuration, and send hex string. Here we can attach some, paste some hex string, copy it from somewhere, and then send to my receiver. In advanced configuration, we are able to configure any items that is listed in this item tree of u-blox generation 9 and 10. And then I can change the configuration items, modify them, and send to my receiver. So for example, here, if I want to configure my receiver for a vehicle tracker application, I would be interested to change my navigation rate, because as we knew from earlier slide, we would be needing more faster update rate in the vehicle tracker. So by default, it's the 0. If I click on that message item, configuration item, and the field nav, I see the detailed information with the description and possibility to write to RAM, BBR, and flash layer. From here, I can change the value from 0 to 5 and set that in RAM, or maybe I can also optionally add BBR or flash layer. Whenever I set some value, those are listed in this configuration changes, and it has all the information I have selected. We can clear anytime and edit anytime. And also, if I want to change some other profile of my receiver, for example, the dynamic model of nav SPG item, then I can click on that item and then change the value of the dynamic model for my application to automotive. That should be the one for vehicle tracker. If I set that to my BBR and RAM, then I see they are gathering here in my configuration changes table. And from here, I can rearrange the items anytime. There are sometimes dependency for some configuration items. For example, item 1 need to be configured before I can configure this item 2. So in this way, I do not need to start from the scratch if I have already added 50 items in my table. We can easily rearrange them. We can easily update any other items by double clicking and then change the value from here, and that will be updated. So that was really very good implementation and improvement on top of uCenter. Now it will really help user to configure our receiver. Now that we see how we can check the configuration items or configure our receiver with this configuration changes table, as I said, there may be some time possible that for some specific application, I would be needing to change 50 items. Then it might be challenging, even though I can search from here any item. And then I will see all the configuration items that will have this parameter. But even so, it might be challenging to collect all the information and maybe sometimes confusing which one to use. For that, we have implemented this quick preset example feature. Here we have added 3 applications for standard precision device. One is this vehicle tracker. If I hover over the item, I can see the details information there. And before that, just wanted to mention, whenever I create some configuration changes list, I can save that list as a file. And that is saved as a configuration file. And from this program kebab menu, I can see I can export that file to share with my customer or to my other colleague to be able to copy that in their receiver. I can rename the file and I can delete the file anytime. And whenever I receive such file, I can always import that file in uCenter 2 to be able to see in this configuration changes table, and then I can modify any item and then save the file and then send back to the original user. And then if I come back to this vehicle tracker, here this is the application where we would need to have the continuous tracking with high position update rate, accuracy, and availability. And these are the items we have gathered here just for the starting point of the user. But anytime they would need to modify the values or add some values or delete some values if those are not relevant for their application. And here we see only the deltas to be enabled on top of this SPG 510 firmware. So we wanted to enable GLONASS in this application. As we know, we cannot enable more than 4 constellations. So that's why we needed to disable QGSS first, which was the by default enabled in this firmware version. So I disabled the QGSS and enabled the GLONASS. As a dynamic model, if I click on any item, I can see what was the description. Automotive was chosen for this profile, and then automotive profile was chosen car, and the update rate was 100 in raw, and then 0.1 second. That means I'll get 10 position, I will get 10 messages each second from my receiver. So I will get faster update. And then we also enable some other items here to be able to monitor the performance better. And if I have done with my modification, I can send that to my receiver to really apply the application and make my receiver to be able to a vehicle tracker. And in the same way, we have also added the people tracker application list of configuration example. This is also is an example of continuous tracking with high precision update rate, accuracy, and availability, but also with lower power consumption. Here we have updated the position update rate as 60 seconds as we want to save power, so it will only be looking for some update after 60 seconds. And then we also used the power save mode here, which is the power save mode on off. So it will turn off the receiver at some point to save the power. And we also have the position accuracy selected 30 meter. We have the odometer profile selected as run. And then we have the dynamic model, which is the pedestrian here. And as we know, the bus cannot be enabled in the power save mode operation, so we have to disable them. And we also disabled Galileo to be able to enable GLONASS here. And we can just send that if everything is okay, or I just modify and then send to my receiver. In the same way, we have the wearable application. It is also an example of sporadic tracking with reasonable position availability and accuracy needs with lower power consumption. And here, we also disabled as bus. Dynamic model is chosen as pedestrian, and automotive profile is running, and the position accuracy is chosen 30 meter. And all the other needed information to monitor the performance, and the position update period is selected less than the people tracker, which is every half a minute. So after 30 seconds, it will provide a position update, not before that. And then apart mode is selected as power save mode cyclic tracking to best suit these wearable applications. So these were all the quick preset examples. So in this U-Center 2, it is really possible for anyone to make their own preferred configuration example or file and then apply that in the receiver or share around. So this will really help the customer to be able to configure the receiver. And that was everything for the device configuration and also for the U-Center 2 application update. Thank you all.
Thank you, Medjabin. And now we go back to the presentation. And I believe, Mandy, you will do the sum up, right?
Yes, thanks, Bernd. So I hope this webinar has given you all some useful takeaways on how use case specific configuration can improve GNSS performance, as well as help with GNSS device configuration. As Bernd mentioned earlier on in this presentation, u-Center 2 is free of charge and is available to download from the u-blox website. Move us on one, Bernd. So you can if you enjoyed this webinar and would like to see other topics we've covered in these live sessions, you can find these on demand on our website. Move us on one, Bernd. So you can also find more online resources and useful information on today's topic on our technology and blog section of the website. As mentioned earlier, please feel free to email us at webinar@u-blox.com if you'd like a copy of this presentation for reference. And I believe we have the Q&A section next. So we've got a few questions here. So first one being, u-blox M9 and F9 products will be supported in u-Center 2 somewhere in 2023. How are they supported by u-Center till then?
Yes, so we plan to support them later on. Today they are not supported, and they are supported by the legacy product u-Center, the one I showed on the left, if you remember my slide with the two pictures. So it's still supported. Don't worry. You need to use the older software till next year.
Thanks, Bernd. Another question here. Will u-Center 2 one day replace u-Center completely?
Oh, that's a good question. As I highlighted in my presentation, we splitted the functionality of these two software packages. So all products of u-blox generation 9, M9, F9, and later will be supported by u-Center 2. And all previous products, u-blox M8, generation 7, 6, 5, and so on, will still be served by the uCenter legacy product. So the software will always be there, and we will not support these older products in the uCenter 2 software. But the old software will remain there, so you can still use it also in the future.
Thanks, Bernd. And a question here from Armando. Is it possible to show how to configure GNSS?
Oh, unfortunately, this we didn't cover today. Please watch out also our videos on YouTube. We will probably have a video about this later on, not today. But today in the session, we didn't cover it.
Thanks, Bernd. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. I think we'll go on to the next slide now. Amazing. So thank you, everyone, for your time. It's worth mentioning we have a support forum, further documentation at www.u-blox.com, and we're always happy to help if you would like to get in touch with our technical support team. Also, I'd like to mention there is a short survey at the end of this webinar. We would love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much for your time, everyone, and have a lovely rest of the day.